Excellent, thank you. Hello, Dusseldorf. How are you doing today?
Good. So,
Welcome to the new reality.
today we're going to take
I'm just going to let the sound get adjusted. Okay, perfect.
so today, hello.
Okay, perfect. So today we're going to take a glimpse at the world after advertising. We're going to see how the digital landscape is going to look like in the next 5 to 10 years. My name, as I was introduced, my name is Gonda. I'm the Global Creative Technology Lead and Innovation for SapientNitro, a global customer experience company that focuses on the intersection of marketing and technology. What you hear today is everybody talking about social media. We're talking about augmented reality. We're talking about mobile. We're talking about iPhones, iPhone apps. Everything is innovative. Everything, as you can see, is technology driven. So you're here today wondering, where is all this going? Where are we going to be in the next 5 to 10 years? How is our business, how is an industry is going to evolve? But before we innovate, we have to understand. So let's make sure that we all get aligned on what is exactly that we do, because that's really not going to change at all. Our business is actually quite simple. We connect company to consumers, and we connect consumers to companies. Okay, we connect consumers to companies. Let me just stand here. So our world is actually quite simple. We take a look at people, and we take a look at brands. And what we try to do is we try to find what tips people, what interests, what their passions are, and we try to see what the brands offer, what their value proposition is. And the real world of marketing, the role is simply just to connect the dots. We probably have advertising people here, we have agency, we have media, we have client side. We usually do this simply by exposing clients to media, exposing people to media. But more and more, these people are interacting with technology. They're also driven by data. And when you combine technology, data, and media, we expose people to engaging experiences. So everything is evolving, and it's evolving quickly. Let's take a look at how consumers, media, technology, and data is evolving over time. What we used to call consumer is not a consumer anymore. It's actually a person, because it's a user, he's a consumer. He belongs to the community, he's a participant, he uploads content. Media has evolved, the medium evolves drastically, it's evolved a lot. What used to be a broadcasting method from many to one, from one to many, has evolved into today's world of social media, where media and companies and media people all advertise. It's the common voice. Everybody has a voice, everybody has an opinion. What the companies say, what the media say, what the brands say is not enough anymore. 90% of all purchases are driven by recommendations. But where all is going is actually to a world where the media is going to be fully personalized. Everything is going to be a one-to-one connection. We're going to see that person. We're not going to be segmenting. Everything is going to be about that individual alone. And data has evolved a lot. Do you guys remember back in the days where we used to have these scans where the connections were slow? And today we all work on megabytes, and our hard drives are gigs. If you're like me, our music collection is actually just in terabytes. But from that point on, I wish I had petabytes of music, but I don't. Every time we run out of space, we just add like 3 zeros. We invent a new name, like petabytes, exabytes, zettabytes, and they're not even used to the gigabytes. And it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Like Google, for example, moves about petabytes of data per hour. And it's estimated that the online world today has close to 1.27 zettabytes. But data has evolved from much more than that. Data is not just about the information, it's about content. Data has been used to analyze where we stand. Data has been used to analyze what happened in the past. But today, data is being used to optimize the present and also to predict the future. And technology, the fun part, technology has evolved to be a part of everybody's lives. technology like our iPhone. Everybody here has an iPhone, at least everybody that I talk to that in the bank has an iPhone. But do you remember the world before the iPhone? That was only about 3 years ago. And we're so used to it. And now you see new things coming up, like gesture augmented reality and gestural recognitions and the new Connect. And we're going to get so used to this technology, it has to be part of everything that we do. But when you look at technology, it's not really about technology. Let's take a look at what's the relation between people and technology. It's really not about the evolution of technology, it's about how technology has changed us. When we invented the car, we made the city smaller. When we invented the plane, we made the country smaller, or even the world smaller. It's actually quite funny that you see people complaining about, well, my flight got delayed and I got here an hour late. Do you know how long it would have taken me to get to Europe back in the day? It's like 30 years. So an hour later, it's actually nothing. And then mobile communication has made the world even smaller. You're connected 24/7 all the time. So let's take a look at how technology is actually affecting our relations with brands, because this is exactly where things are going. Let's use banking, for example. Back in the days, if you needed cash, you had to go to the bank. And you had to get in the bank and you had to talk to the teller. You knew the teller by name. The bank had a face, they were human. The teller's name was Gladys, and she was there 10 to 4, and nothing else. Every time I needed money, probably about once a week, I used to go to the bank. But then technology came along and some banks invented the ATM, the automated teller machine. This revolutionized the banking industry for them. It allowed you to get money 24/7 without even getting into the bank. But what did that do for the consumer? Well, every time I need money, I'll actually go to the ATM. I don't have to walk in the bank. There's no human, there's no connections, there's no interface. The brand is not human anymore. My connection with the bank is through the ATM, and maybe I'll go to the bank once a month. Because I need money. But then some banks came with online banking, and then I can do all my transfers online, and I can move money, I can pay bills, I can do everything online. But also, if you think about it, as technology evolved, at the beginning it's actually a differentiation point. The ATM differentiated some banks, and then a bank that doesn't have an ATM is not a bank. Then online banking was a differentiation point. Banks, nowadays, banks that don't have online banking are not a bank. I mean, who here has a bank that doesn't have online banking? And then the evolution is mobile banking. You can pay through your phone, you can send bills, you can do everything remotely, you get 24/7 on the road. What this is doing for us, if you haven't realized this, technology is adding layers and layers and layers of interactions and experiences between people and the brands. I don't know my bank anymore. I don't know anybody at my bank, in fact. And the shocking part is that this is American stats, but only 4 out of 100 Americans under the age of 50 know the name of anybody at their bank. And if you think about it, this entity has your money. I mean, it can't get any more personal than that, and I don't know anybody there. What's happening is that technology is either isolating us or connections, or making it easy to communicate. This connections makes easier, isolation made easy. And if you think about it, our connections are digital. Everything that we think about is digital. So this is your new consumer. He's actually living half in the real world and half in the physical world. It embraces full duality. If you think of Avatar, he was paraplegic in the real world. He was a demigod in the digital world. And this is exactly how every one of our consumers lives nowadays. They don't distinguish between real and digital. For them, it's one connected world. But one more thing that these people do is that they're actually not brand loyal anymore. These people don't have any loyalty to pretty much any brand. They only value experiences. Experiences make loyalty. Loyalty is an effect, is not an objective. If you think about it, Apple doesn't have loyalty cards. You don't get the loyalty card every time you go to an Apple store. You don't get emails from them asking you to come back and they'll give you points or discounts. They differentiate themselves through the experience. And it's not an easy thing to do. They differentiate themselves because they think about every single touch point that they have with the consumer, from branding to packaging to the stores to how they talk to you. Everything about there is different. And if you think about it, look at this stats. 80% of CEOs think that their brand has a superior customer experience. And actually, only 8% of the customers agrees. This means that everybody wants to be Apple, but it's really not simple to be Apple. So let's take a look at what's happening today, how technologies are evolving, and how we can use that to our advantage. What's going to happen? What are the nice technology-driven brands that are innovating today, and this is going to drive our future? Apple, for example, reinvented multi-touch and multi-touch devices through all their iPod and iPad devices. Google is open sourcing a full ecosystem. Amazon made infrastructure cheaper and efficient through the Amazon Web Service and their cloud computing. Facebook is connecting the entire world, is documenting everybody, every one of us, plus our relations, plus our interests, plus our likes, and then it's exposing everything through open APIs. Tencent redefined virtual goods. All the video games are redefining motion sensor devices and natural interfaces. Now you play by moving your controls and you play by jumping up and down in front of the camera. And if you think about it, all this is going to drive future customer experiences. PayPal is doing mobile payments, Zynga, social gaming. Twitter reinvented and allow everybody to have a voice and broadcast messaging to the world. Netflix has 20% of, actually, they own online video streaming. And at peaks, this is a really impressive number. They actually, at some point, about 20% of all online video traffic goes to Netflix. Groupon is social commerce and group buying. And Pandora has reinvented digital music streaming, straight and it's personalized. So what are agencies doing to adapt to this? Agencies are also starting to think about marketing technologies. They're embedding technologies into their DNA. Agencies are marrying technology and creative. And for example, Sapient has a marketing technology department, which I run. And we think of technology as many ways. One is we think of technology to enable marketing and the platform and everything in the core. So everything from social media to CMS and CRMs and digital asset management and ad buying and ad surveys. We have technology that enables all that, business intelligence and data warehousing. Then the typical digital touch points. This is what agencies used to do. I mean, everything from emails and marketing, landing pages, websites, the mobile communications. And this is a brand new one, which is how we interface and how we connect with the physical world. We look at augmented reality, we look at RFIDs, we look at locations, and pretty much the full Internet of Things that I'll get to talk about. So advertising has evolved. Advertising went from a medium or an environment where we control and we sell, we broadcast, we interrupt, and the brand is a broadcaster too. Sponsoring, providing value, allowing people to engage, and brand became a facilitator. There is a $50 billion opportunity for digital advertising and digital in general. Although if you think about it, 5 years from now, or maybe 10 years from now, everything will be digital. TV will be fully digital through IPTV and addressable. Radio will be streamed 100%. Print is not going to be print anymore. It's only going to be actually on your iPad. So everything is digital. And where things are evolving, actually, it's mobile. And you have to pay close attention to mobile. Mobile, by 2012, more mobile devices will be sold than PC devices. By 2014, there will be more mobile devices than any other device on the planet. So by 2015, if each one of you doesn't think mobile first and try to design everything for mobile and not for PCs, then you're going to be in the wrong business. So digital and physical are really becoming one. Think about it. Everything, you try to engage to enable digital and everything. Everything from QR codes, which is a whole bunch of embedded code that allow you to extend the physical experience, to SnapShare, Snap Tags. Well, the QR codes are really ugly. No brands want to actually have that printed in any of their beautiful designs. So new solutions came along to allow you to snap photos and still get everything through text messages or email. Sticky bits, or ability of attaching rich media to barcodes. The barcodes is the most boring piece of content ever, and yet advertisers find a way to make it fun and find a way to actually attach something valuable to it. And just like how we can do that, we can do barcodes on stores and actually extend store experiences. Advertising really is evolving towards much more than just brand messaging and visual. we have to evolve and we have to think about every single touch point, anywhere from the brands to the marketing, to how we handle in-store experiences, to the exact shopping experiences, to after experiences, loyalty and customer service. Everything redefines what brand actually is. More digital to physical. Augmented reality, not new anymore. Mobile devices have been used in video, but they're getting a lot more sophisticated. They can actually finally start processing some of the landscapes that you're looking at. In addition to that, well, this is probably an exaggeration, but in-car display. If I drove like this, I'll probably, my car better drive by itself, because I won't be able to concentrate. I'll be just playing with all these gadgets all the time. And then it's going to evolve to really eyewear and display. But even though you can see everything through eyewear, you can see everything through your sunglasses, it's still going to be driven by mobile devices. Mobile devices is truly the computing power, what ties the physical and digital. And this is a brand new one. This is finally the processing power of video is good enough to do some really sophisticated face recognition. We can recognize faces on the street. We can recognize faces, their age, their ethnicity, their gender, and even their mood. So when we got a hold of this technology and we started playing with it at Sapient, we decided, well, it looks great, but what can we really do with such a great technology? I can probably talk hours on everything that we can do with this technology, but in this particular case, what we decided to do is we decided to marry that to a campaign we were launching for a client called for Unilever and their Heart brand ice cream. We were in the middle of launching a world campaign for ice cream called Share Happy, and it was all about sharing happiness. It's all about how you can actually make the world a happier place. And we decided to embed these cameras on vending machines, and if you haven't followed some of the things that Sapient is doing, we're doing a lot of digital vending, and we're taking Coca-Cola machines and replacing them with nice touchscreens and full video, and immersing games, interacting with mobile communications. You can pay through mobile. But for Unilever, what we did is we connected the camera on the machine, and we tracked everybody that walked by. So behind the scenes, what this does is allows us to track foot traffic and engagement. And imagine all the data that you can have with regular vending machines that you didn't have before. Nevertheless, on this particular one, because we can detect mood, as soon as we saw you smiling and you're willing to share that smile with the world, we'll reward you with free ice cream. So we're enabling and engaging and innovating a simple thing such as vending machine. And the brand new one is Connect that just came in like last week when we were already playing with it. Originally for Xbox, you've seen it and you've seen all the commercials. You can move up, down, and you do a full gesture control. Your body becomes the controller. But if that's what it does for gaming, imagine what it does for advertising. Or imagine what it does for branding. What we can do with such technology for our clients. For example, we have some concepts where we're projecting a digital screen on the window shopping, on the window in the shop. And there's a Connect motion sensor that allows you to interact with the content inside the store. So it just reinvents and redefines window shopping. You can walk by a store without even getting in. You have the full store inventory right there in the window, and you can browse up and down, scale it up and down, interact, and even probably try it on yourself through augmented reality. But enough of what's happening today. Let's actually take a big jump to 5 years from now. And this is what you guys have been waiting for. What is it about? Really, data and technology. If you haven't guessed it yet, I've been talking about data and technology since I got here. We asked 5 visionaries, what is the future of advertising? Or what's the future of digital, perhaps? And Facebook said the social web. Everything is connected. And in fact, with their Open Graph initiative, they're trying to connect everything online and everything offline, even including through Facebook Places. Nike Plus, pervasive web. Really, for them, is who I run with, how I run, where I run, how often do I run, and they believe in the collection of user data and non-user data. The semantic web, if you haven't checked out Wolfram Alpha, it's an amazing computation engine. It's kind of like, imagine if Google provides you results, Wolfram Alpha provides you solutions. It does real-time computations. You can ask him what's the distance on the moon from Düsseldorf at this very moment, and he will actually tell you. calculating real-time orbits and all the information that he has. Their life, it's all about, again, wearable displays. And smart tech believes that computers cannot feel, and they're trying to invent a language where computers can learn how to feel emotions and effective computing. So this slide will be how advertising is going to work in a few years. We're going to know everything there is to know about any individual, any person, anywhere. For instance, we're going to know everything about the environment, from the location, to temperature, to directions, availability of the endpoint, availability of the network. And we're going to know that through sensors, we're going to know that through mobile devices. And obviously we're going to know the personalized identity, who he is, their contact list, their address book, their calendar, and everything that there is to know about that person. In addition to that, the new one, community, is social. Social data and natural language processing is evolving faster than you think. We're going to be able to pretty much just analyze people's conversations, their likes, their friends, their social circles, what they do, what they like, what they dislike. And on top of that, we implement some process rules, some system-defined rules, user-defined rules. Again, it looks really complicated, but all it is a whole bunch of data streams. And a whole bunch of data that are coming together into a single place. And this place will be that brain. And the brain is called contextual computing. This brain is a massive database that's going to decide every single experience on how you're going to experience that. Anything from when you get to a website, instant personalization, what's going to happen on the website, what the website is going to display, which products, what service, what type of language, what type of tone is going to use with you. All the content personalized specifically for you since the moment you land on the website. Email campaigns. I mean, email is not going away, so all the email communication, the marketing, the services. Search and display. This is important again for all those media buyers and all those media companies. Search and display right now is evolving. It's evolving into the DSP world, real-time bidding, real-time trading, but it's still based on supply and demand. It's not based on personalization. The concept of segmentation will go away. Everything will be 100% behavioral. Everything will be 100% contextual. All your phone experiences, everything that you can do with your phone, from your apps to your web, to your communication, your text. In-store experiences, like I said, through sensors, cameras. As soon as you walk in the store, it's going to know who you are, what you like, what you bought there before. If not, it's going to at least match it to the nearest segment, or it's going to identify your device. And there's an evolution actually on trying to use device frequencies to uniquely identify devices. So the same thing, the cookies online, everything is cookied, everything is tracked, whether you like it or not. Same thing is going to happen with devices. We're going to be able to track it from store to store, down the street, up the street, when you walk in, when you walk out, and everything will be personalized to you. And of course, customer service and everything else behind it. So like I said, media is going to become personalized. Media, it's all about one person. It's about you. It's not about anybody else. It's not about the segment. It's about how we can drive experiences specifically towards each individual. And in addition to that, this brain is a learning machine. It's not only about everything that I know, but everything that I try, I learn from it. So as soon as I expose you to something, expose you to media, expose you to advertising, I sent you a recommendation, I sent you a text message, I messaged the store about perhaps you should recommend, when this person walks in, you should recommend he's looking to buy a toy for his daughter. And whether I bought that or not, or whether I like the blue or the red, as soon as I expose you to anything, I'll learn from whether you like that or how you react to anything. So let's bring it to life. And exactly how will this work? Let me give you an example. So I'm going to be leaving here tomorrow, and I'm going to be driving to the, actually, let's say I'm back in the US. I'm leaving the office in the afternoon. And my phone recognizes that my wife's birthday is coming up. It's actually the next day. And they know that it checks my history, my transactions, and it sees that I already bought her a gift. But he also knows that my wife likes roses. So my wife will like red roses, and she likes chocolate, but not the dark chocolate. She likes milk chocolate. It will recognize that I'm driving home, and it will recommend that I buy flowers on my way home. But then it's going to check that there's a traffic jam ahead of us. And it's going to tell me that the store that I used to go to, because he knows where and when I buy all my flowers all the time, he's been tracking that for a few years. And it's going to close at 6 o'clock, and I'm going to get there on time. So it's going to recommend that I reroute to a different store. And when I reroute to this other store, it's also going to check that at the house, I'm probably running out of Red Bull, and my wife loves Red Bull. So I might as well just gain some extra points and stop by the shop to buy some more Red Bull and stock up for her. And it's going to send me discount coupons, and it's going to link me automatically to all the cards and allow me to pay through the phone. Everything my phone knows about me. So if you think about it, this is going to make us even lazier than we are today. This is actually quite funny, because right now, I don't know about you guys, but I don't remember any one of my appointments, and if my Outlook or my phone doesn't tell me, they don't exist. I don't have to talk to anybody, I don't have to meet with anybody, and it's nobody's birthday, and it's nobody's time, unless my phone tells me. And if my phone starts telling me what I have to buy, or when I have to buy it, or where I have to go, I'm probably going to trust them, because he probably knows better than I do. And let's fast forward yet 5 more years. This is 2020 now. As you can see, the brain is still in the middle. Nothing has changed. Everything is controlled through this contextual computing. But there's one more thing. There's an emerging element. And this emerging element is the sensors. Everything will be connected. Everything from your cars to the public transportations, to the products in the store. Everything will be talking to each other and helping, again, provide a better service and a better experience for you. So this is why it's called the Internet of Things, which perhaps you have heard, perhaps not. But it's something that's emerging. And the funny part is that it was actually coined in the late 80s by the PARC, Palo Alto Research Center. They were thinking of the future of the Internet, where everything will be connected. And they were thinking that it will be connected using RFIDs. And the funny part is that's exactly what's going to happen, except that back in the days, that was extremely expensive, unfeasible. And we're finally getting to the point where the RFID is becoming really cheap and expensive, small, flexible, and you can embed it everywhere. Before, it requires additional power. Right now, this little sticker, this little magnet, is enabled to connect with other objects nearby, transmit everything wirelessly. It doesn't even require power to operate. So if you think of what can you do, it can be embedded everywhere. You can embed it on your luggage, and you can follow your luggage around. It can be embedded in products. And this is not far from reality. This is happening today. Walmart in the US requires every vendor to embed RFID tags on their products before it gets it. What this allows them to do, it allows them to follow the products anywhere in the supply chain, from fulfillment to the store, keep inventory, know when they're running out. And if you think about it, and this is something they don't tell everybody, you can even follow the product around. You can follow it to the household. Remember when I told you that we know everything that there is to know? And right now, how are we tracking people? We're tracking people through loyalty cards. If you have a Tesco loyalty card, and like 90% of the UK has one, we know everything that you buy, when you buy it, how much you spend, how often you spend it, when you're running out of products. If you think about this, we're going to know exactly what you have in the house, and where do you live, and who you are, everything that there is to know about you. So there's an evolution of privacy and data, and probably right now everybody's thinking, I'm not really comfortable with that. I really don't want, my supplier, my store to know where I live and where I take all these products. But privacy and creepiness is it's all relative, and everybody has a different threshold. Everybody has a different, they draw the line on a different level. So back in the days, actually, you're probably thinking, I'm never going to let anybody know all this information about me. But back in the days, would you actually publish to the world where you're going, when you're going, who you're with, and all this stuff? Everything that social has done for us, and it made us fully comfortable telling the world, at least a close circle of friends. And even though all your friends can see it, well, Facebook can see it, and advertisers can see it, and brands can see it, and apps. So the level of what we consider normal, the level of what we consider private, is evolving over time, and all these things hopefully at some point will be considered normal too. This can actually be embedded on your clothing, it can be embedded on fabric. There's concept of actually new shirts that that actually collect data about you, and again, you don't even know about it. They connect your movements and your temperature and the humidity and your interactions. Think of what this can do for actually sports and how we can track everything that the athletes do. And obviously, they're really small, they're tiny. They can be embedded everywhere. So if you think about it, 10 years from now, remember when I told you the data has evolved and there's about 1.27 zettabytes of data? Well, it doesn't mean much to you guys. Actually, it doesn't mean much to me. It's just a huge number. But once all these things start to get online, we're going to have not 1.25, 35 zettabytes of information. And right now, whereas most of the communication online is human to human, when this comes online, 99% of communication is going to be machine to machine, which means that the world is going to evolve into a world where machines are talking to each other and they're making things happen, and we just happen to be there. It's the evolution of all those real crazy futuristic movies that you've seen where machines actually do everything. Probably 10 years from now, we'll be getting to that point. So now that you've seen that everything is about intelligence, everything is about where things are going, it's about how we use technology, how we use data. Let me give you just a couple of predictions of what's going to happen by 2015, so at least you make sense of some of this information that I just gave you. So number one, because every prediction has to say something will die, I had to throw this one in there. And location-based services, as they stand today, will die. So everybody's getting excited about Foursquare and Gowalla and all this stuff. I'm not sure how much here, but in the US, certainly a lot. And truth and reality is that Foursquare only has about 4 million users globally. That's nothing. Gowalla has 3. Scavenger has 1. And the reality is, we don't provide anybody any reason other than they're just a set of geeks to actually use this stuff. There is no real value to anybody. There's no real value to consumers. Loyalties, yeah. But you know what? We ask people to check in. Just the concept of checking in, it's a little bit backwards. And people don't understand what it is. People don't want to know what it is. The name is horrible. So that's the first thing that has to change. But now really, what has to change is that the notion of location is going to evolve from being a service to being just an attribute, something that we know about a person. It's not a service anymore. We don't need to have a special app that you have to check into. It's going to evolve from being a reactive experience where I have to take up my phone and actually manually press one button. That's probably too much for most of us. And we forget, and we don't see why we have to do it over and over again. To a proactive service where the phone, like I said, is going to automatically just know where you are. Yes, granted that you get the proper application security access to make sure that your location is fine and you can allow your phone to know that. And it's going to provide you services on top of that. So like I said, it's going to tell me that my friend Oliver is nearby. It's going to tell me that my wife came with me to Germany to watch this conference. It's going to tell me that I'm running out of something on my way home, and it's going to recommend that I buy it. And those little applications will probably don't have a stand to survive against the big players that are going to use this information with all the additional data. Because location by itself is just, like I said, it's part of context, but it's not everything. So location with everything else is going to provide you that contextual awareness. It's going to provide you that added value service. Facebook will control about 50% of all display advertising. So this is an interesting one, and the funny part is that we know it's coming, we just don't know when. If you think about everything that they've been doing, social widgets, serving content, centralizing Facebook, they are an ad server, they just don't want to admit it yet. And probably again, because of all the backslash that came with them over the years, and everything about privacy that, well, you're using your data against us and everything else. If they actually come out and do this publicly without a lot of preparation, they may have a little backlash. But the technology is there, and there's nobody more suitable to actually serve additional pieces of content, the social widgets, just a new type of widget on any website that's specifically targeted to the individual. Maybe it'll penetrate APAC. Right now, the second probably largest social network in the world, probably after QQ. And they're trying to penetrate China. And right now, Facebook is a global power, but not global enough because it's not big enough in Asia. But they're doing everything that they can to penetrate it. They send people there, they're taking cultural classes, they're evaluating what's happening. Maybe they'll buy a company over there. But if they actually get to this point of time, they're probably going to be one of the biggest companies in the world. Now, Android and Google Meet, this is a funny one. So how many people here have an Android by raise of hands? Almost nobody. Everybody has an iPhone, right? Yes? Yes, indeed. So the iPhone, and I have an iPhone as well, has obviously gained momentum and is the number one smartphone out there. But in the US, and probably to follow everywhere else, Android, actually, except some places in Europe because of Samsung and Nokia, but everywhere else, Android is already selling more than iPhones. And obviously, because iPhone is one device, one OS, Android, I'm not talking about just one specific phone, it's anybody using that specific OS. It's going to surpass the iPhone soon enough. Some stats say by 2012, some by 2014, but if we're talking about 2015, it's actually safe enough to assume that it's going to be the number one smartphone out there. And Google is not a fool. Google actually knows that. And they've been talking about something called Google Meet. And they've been talking about being a social network. And then they had a press conference about a month ago, and they said, we are not building a traditional social network called Meet. And obviously, if you emphasize traditional that much, it means that they're doing something probably a little bit less traditional, and perhaps they're banking on, if we're going to have the number one phone out there, and we have the number one search engine, and we have OSs, and we have a Chrome OS that's going to come in soon, and we have netbooks, and we have all these things. What if we provide a service that interconnects all these people, and we're going to do it on mobile, and we're going to bet on mobile, because we know mobile is going to overtake computers really soon. So this Google Meet, and perhaps we're going to call it differently, it's actually going to be some type of mobile social network that's going to interconnect 90% of the population in all the smartphones that are going to be all these and Android. And this is the fun one for the advertising and the media world. Media is going to be commoditized. So if you work in the media business, you really have to think where you're going to be in 5 years. Media is becoming a commodity, and it's going to start being ready to trade in real time. So there's a small emergence of DSPs, demand-side platforms, that are looking at media, and they're trying to look at demand, supply, some segmentation, some customer attribution, and trying to match the right bid to the right person at the right time. But what it is actually doing is taking everything that used to be media and putting it on one massive trading floor where advertisers and brands are bidding in real time for the best person for them in real time. And right now, yes, it can only apply to digital. It doesn't apply to physical that much. But guess what? Everything is going digital. Out of home is going to become digital out of home. Your TV is going to become addressable in IPTV. Your radio is going to become streamed. Your print is going to become print inside tablets. Everything's digital. Therefore, all the media buying is going to be digital, and it's going to be traded. And it's going to be controlled by the same brain. Remember that brain that I showed you? That contextual computing brain? It's actually a concept that's evolving called contextual broker. And there are going to be a few emerging. And the ones that control that contextual brokerage is the ones who are going to be controlling the money. So media budgets will shift. How is media sold nowadays? Again, if any of you work in media departments, the way it works is that every year a client or a brand has a media budget, and they have, let's say, $100 million to spend on advertising that year. They cut a check of $90 million to the media companies, and million they're going to use in advertising, marketing services, and production. So what does the media company do with the $90 million? They spend it, and they spend it wisely, but they spend it over the course of the year, and they probably sell to the client at cost. But they take those $90 million and they invest that over the years, over the time, and that's where they make the real money. But if I'm telling you that the advertisers or the brands are not going to give this kind of check to the media companies anymore because there's going to be a smarter way of doing it. Right now, the conservative way is I gave $100 million to Mediacom and I know exactly what I get back. And what's going to happen next year? I'm going to give them another $100 million and I'm going to get the exact same thing back. And next year I'm going to give them another $100 million and I'm going to get the same thing back. And it's going to be less than 5 years before they realize this is the absolute wrong way of buying. Why can't I buy in real time? Why can't I have my own money until the time I need it? Why can't I find the right customer for me? Why do I have to give these people on such a large retainer? And this contextual brokers, this trading floor is going to provide the advertisers, such as the brands and advertisers, that freedom of, I know who my target is, and I have all my rules, like I want to retarget, I don't know, I want to know that the person already bought some sneakers on the past month, and I want to know that he travels in the subway, and I want to know that he walks by a certain street, or I want to know that the mom has 2 kids, and I want to know everything about that makes this person a better suitable potential customer for me. I'm going to make sure that I expose the right media, the right experience to these people at the right time. And advertising has done this for the past few years. Our mantra is the right message to the right person at the right time. We've been saying it for years, we just don't do it because we buy in masses. And once we can individualize and personalize all the buy, media budgets will shift. So again, if you work in any one of these departments and you're used to getting this fat check, really think about how you're going to make your business a little bit smarter. How intelligent is actually your business? And with this slide, I actually conclude this keynote, and hopefully you'll start thinking, I'll get you thinking on, if you're doing anything that's repetitive, and if you're doing anything that exposes to the masses, if you do anything that targets anyone, that has to change, that has to evolve. And it's really all about intelligence and how you're going to make sure that you put the right customer, the right message to the right customers. And I think I ran out of time, so I would love to take some questions. I'll be here all day, and feel free to drop me an email. Again, my name is Rob Gonda, Gonda at Sapient. This is going to be televised, so if you have a QR code reader, you can actually get my personal information in there. And thank you very much. Hopefully you enjoyed it.
Thank you very much for coming on. Lots of challenges. We have to do something.